back a year ago.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. So this video is a quick run through of my homebrew today, May the 6th, 2023. It's the National Homebrew Big Brew Day. It's the 26th annual Homebrew Day in the States. So they celebrate May the 6th every year as the National Homebrew Day. I don't know why there's not one in the UK. I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, so I got involved. I've brewed the recipe which they sent out, was like nearly Nirvana, and it's basically like a Sierra Nevada clone. So it's a Salt Cascade, it's a pale ale. Hopefully it'll come in around about 5.6% mine. That's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, so I'm just going to show you the footage of the day. If you've got involved, let me know below. It's just a bit of fun really. I did last year's, I'm doing this year's, and yeah, just something to get involved in. So May the 6th, 2023, homebrew, Big Brew Day, National Homebrew Day in the States. I'm just doing it as well. I think there's a few UK brewers doing it as well. But yeah, so this is my footage, and it will be about 4 to 5 weeks. There'll be a grain to glass video out. Also, I want to take a look at Shark Homebrewing, because he'll be doing his as well. And then in about 4 weeks' time, we'll be doing a video together, live, talking about the brew day stuff. So yeah, so hope you enjoy it, and take care, cheers, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, so this is a Big Brew Day. It's the National Homebrew Day in America, but you can do it across. So I'm doing it in the UK. So what we've got here is 96% pale malt and 4% crystal. Now this is crystal, light crystal, but it's still like 80 Lovibond, so it's quite dark. And then we've got the salts, and I'm using Cascade leaf hops, so not pellets, going for the leaf, trying to keep it traditional, a bit like basically it's very similar to the Sierra Nevada West Coast, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I said West Coast because the yeast that we're using for Big Brew Day is the American West Coast ale yeast from Lallemand. So yeah, supporting the Lallemand dry yeast there. So all I need to do now is get cracking, get this mashed in, and start the brew day. Okay, so time to mash in. Aiming for a 69 for the 60-minute mash. 69 degrees. So I've got to 71. Mash in. Get all the grains in. Make sure there's no dough balls. And then leave it for 60 minutes. There you go. That's an example. That's a dough ball. So we need to break that up. So what I normally do, get it on the side and just mash it in. You can see how dry it was then at the side. Look, there's quite a few. Just push them out. Find them and push them out. Okay, so add the salts. And looking hopefully to get like a pH of 5.2 and 5, between 5.2 and 5.4. I'm happy with that. 69.4. So I'll put this up 69.3. We're getting there now. I need to get this wrapped up with towels. Okay, so we've reached mash out. I pushed this to 75 degrees for 10 minutes, just letting it rise up to that. So basically, what is the mash? It's crushed malt mixed with hot water to create a mash. So it's grains that have been crushed. I crushed them this morning. Basically, you stir it, you control the temperature, and it's basically, and you're allowing natural enzymes to convert the starches in the grain to sugars. And then what you're hoping for is your yeast to eat them sugars and turn it to alcohol. So mashing creates a sweet liquid called wort, which is strained from the malt and sent to the brew kettle. So this is all in one. So what you'll see me do next is strain the grains. I always call it strain the grains. And then we'll put it onto the boil. You can skip the whole mash process if you get malt extract. That's another way of brewing. So you can totally skip the grains. You can buy dry malt extract, and you can get liquid malt extract as well. So you've got other options. So anyway, that's the mash. So we're going to move on to the next step. I'm going to strain it, and then we're going to get on to the boil. Okay, so we're going to strain the grain, and the top tip really is, if you've got some sort of, well, I've got like a, what do you call that, sort of a rack. Mine's out of an old fridge, but you can use a rack, put it on top of your pan, like this, and then just let your bag sit on top. And then you can just get as much wort out of that bag as possible, and you can see it there just dripping into that pan. Okay, so what you can see here now is that wort's come to a boil. So you bring it to a boil in the kettle, and then you add the hops at various stages of the boil to provide bitterness, flavour and aroma. That balances the sweetness of a malt and adds complexity to the beer. Boiling also serves to sterilise the water and to evaporate off flavours. So yeah, so it's just, this is the point now. I'm going to boil this for 75 minutes. I'm going to put hops in at 75. I'm going to put hops in at 60, 15 and 5. So there's 4 lots of hops going to go into this. It's Cascade, it's leaf hops. So the first lot will be going in 75-minute boil, and that's going to give me a nice bitterness from them Cascade hops. So here we go. See that leaf, big chunks of the leaf, Cascade leaf hop, going to go in now, 75 minutes. And then leaf hops will just break up in the boil. I may give it a bit of a stir, but you'll start to see them coming up on that boil very soon as they get pushed around the pan. There you go. Just stir them in. This is protein, if you're wondering what this is at the top. Don't worry about that, you can stir it back in. Some people just skim it off as well. But there's the hops. Quite like using leaf hops. Don't mind it at all. You do lose a little bit of liquid from them, but it's fine. There we go, so 60-minute boil. We've got these hops to go in, another lot of Cascade, 60-minute addition. I'll give that a quick stir just to get them hops going. There you go. Okay, so now we're on the 15-minute, and we've got some Irish moss in here as well. So 15-minute Cascade hops, leaf, all in. I'll give it a stir. 10 minutes, and then we'll add the 5-minute addition, and then we can turn it off and start to cool. So the whole idea then is cool it down to about 20 degrees for your pitching temp for your yeast. Okay, so last addition, 5 minutes, Cascade going in. So this will boil for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it off, let it cool down, get it down to pitching temperature. That's the right temperature for the yeast, and then it's time to ferment. So 5 more minutes. This is basically giving the classes as the aroma, so it's going to give more aroma to the beer, the 5-minute addition. So 10 minutes and 5 minutes, flavour and aroma to the beer. Okay, so now we've hit the stage, boil's finished. What I've got to do now, you can see it's all starting to separate the proteins, the hops in there. We need to now cool this down and then put it into the fermenter and then pitch the yeast. So that's it really, that's the hot side done. The rest of it now is cooling, fermenter, and then in about 2 weeks time, getting it out of the fermenter, and I'm going to either bottle it or keg. Not decided yet. So yeah, so the next step you'll see is me putting it into the fermenter. So the next stage is getting that wort cooled down. So what I do, I use an ice bath basically. So these bottles, I just keep them in the freezer, frozen water, put the pan in the sink with cold water, and then just get it to cool down. And once it's at pitching temp, take the wort and put it in the fermenter. Okay, so it's important now to make sure that anything that the wort touches after it's cooled down is sanitised. You've got to really clean and sanitise from this point on. So the fermenter is going to go in, is being sanitised, ready for the wort, then the yeast. Okay, so what I'm doing now is pouring the cooled wort into the fermenter. And the idea is I've got it quite a height, so it's going in, but it's also aerating, which helps with the yeast. So the more you can aerate the wort, the better, the healthier for the yeast. Okay, so now I'm just pitching the yeast on top of that aerated wort. So this is the West Coast pale yeast from Lallemand. So for this small batch, I only need 5 grams. Okay, so there you go. That's the brew day done. So that's the wort, the yeast in the fermenter. I've got a reading of 1057, aiming for 1060, but I've got more liquid, so the boil off wasn't as vigorous as I could have got it. But yeah, I'm happy with that. That's just the dry yeast you can see there, so that'll soak in, and then it'll be away and fermenting. Slightly darker because of that, like I said, the light crystal that I got from Get a Brewed seemed to be darker than normal light crystal. But yeah, there you go. That's the brew day done. So thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for the update. I'll either do a bottling video or just the grade to glass, which will just be a speeded up version of what you've seen today, with the actual beer being tasted. Okay, like I say, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating.